Well, here now is the author, Sir Terry Pratchett, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2007, along with Jeremy Hughes, head of the Alzheimer's Society, and the Care Minister, Norman Lamb. Sir Terry, you wrote an open letter to the government quite recently. You sounded pretty angry in it. Are you?
Yes. Well, yes. I'm often angry with the government.
And specifically in the case of dementia, what is it that angers you?
It's a Cinderella. I said that. I've been saying this for a long time. It hasn't got noticed.
Are you talking about the amount of money that's spent on research?
Exactly, yes.
You'd like to see more money spent, presumably?
Good heavens, yes.
There's no prospect of a cure, is there?
No.
In cancer, very often people are channeling money towards things that seem promising.
I don't know what he's promising at the moment. I think what it does need a lot more money put in, more people trying to see what they can do.
When we heard Zandria Service there talking about the care that became necessary for her husband, and she praised the NHS. She said most of the NHS care was really good, but there was a problem with casual carers who came and went. How do you feel most people react to dementia in this country?
Afraid of it. And hoping like hell that they never have it. And the chances are they will have it. It's about,
It's quite common. I mean, 800,000, I mean, you would know the precise figures. It's about 800,000. Sorry, talking across you there.
It's 1 in 3 people over 65 ends up dying with dementia. But of course, one of the tragedies today is that less than half those people actually get a diagnosis. And now, if that was cancer and half the people with cancer died before we knew they had cancer, there'd be an outcry. And what we're calling for is more attention on diagnosing people and then finding out through research what kind of treatments, as well as progressing to a cure, will make a difference.
Do you find it surprising, Terry, that people are so scared given how common it is? I mean, most of us
I think now they're scared because they might be lucky. They might find some carers that care. But I don't know about you. Every time I read newspapers and look at the screen, some bad care has been found somewhere in Britain. And this happens an awful lot. I used to try and write it all down, and I needed another notebook. That if people knew that if when they had dementia they will be well looked after, I think a lot of the fear would go. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Many people would still be just terrified of the prospect of not being able to do things for themselves. The prospect even of good care would be frightening to many people, wouldn't it?
Yes. Now, I've made my own ideas of my end of life, as you know.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's a separate subject. Let's talk about dementia right now, if you don't mind. Now, if it's the case that there is no prospect of a cure for this, that's right, isn't it?
Well, there's a prospect of doing a lot to slow down the progression.
Absolutely. No cure, I said. There's no prospect of a cure.
Well, that's the case, I think, at the moment, and I think Jeremy would probably agree with that.
I think there's no prospect of a cure right now, but that's because we spend 8 times as much on cancer research as we do on dementia research.
Oh, you think it's possible there might a cure
if
might be found?
if we had more researchers doing more lab science, then we would get there much more quickly than we are at the moment.
And one of the great things I think about the G8 summit that we're holding tomorrow is that this sort of elevates the whole subject and in a sense makes the case for an enormously increased level of investment in research. You can't just massively increase it overnight. You have to build capacity in the research community, but the need is overwhelming. I completely share Jeremy's view.
At a public information level, you were about to say there are ways of slowing the onset of this disease.
Yeah.
Would you like just very quickly between the 2 of you or 3 of you to tell us what they are?
Well, it's down to the research that's being undertaken, and I think that there is some hope that we can achieve advances there. But we also have to understand more about how to care for people with dementia. We're still learning that as well, and all of these areas of research, we can also find ways of preventing it. Some types of dementia, vascular dementia, depends on lifestyle, and so we can do a lot to prevent dementia for many people. So there's so much we need to do. And of course, the other really important thing is about changing attitudes in society, and that's why Jeremy and I are both wearing these Dementia Friend badges. We're trying to recruit 1 million dementia friends across the country. You should have a go, Jeremy. But it's to raise understanding and awareness. And I think if we can do that across society, whether it's in shops where people get confused at the checkout till or on a bus or just, with friends and neighbours, it's just so important to increase understanding.
What's that like from the other end when I bet you can often sense people's frustration when you've temporarily lost the thread of something, for example, of the sort of situation you
Actually,
almost
myself, no, people understand.
Yeah.
I get the word wrong, they give me another chance. People, aren't cruel.
I think one of the challenges is that 1/3 of people with dementia today live on their own at home. And those people often don't get out at all. We did a survey published a couple of months ago showing that 1 in 3 don't even get out of their home once a week.
Yeah.
And that
Exactly.
that is a tragedy, that people are feeling trapped in their own homes. And that's because they don't feel that society will respond to them in a positive way. And that's what we're trying to change.
And we know that companionship makes a massive difference to your sense of well-being, whether you have dementia or whether you're living alone as an elderly person with other frailties. But the other point I wanted to raise was on the issue of diagnosis levels. It is incredible that we're still less than 50%. But it's very variable, and we've just published a dementia atlas so that in any part of the country you can find out how well your local services are doing. And I visited the most amazing service in Nosal, Ian Greaves.
Where is that?
In Staffordshire. Ian Greaves, a really inspiring GP. The diagnoses are mostly done in primary care. And it's just, it's a brilliant...
What difference is an atlas going to make, though?
Well, because if you can find out how well your local service is doing, you can challenge them. Because in Nosal, they've got nearly 100% diagnosis. And people there get good care. They delay going into a care home or a nursing home. They reduce the cost, but they improve the care. And that, if it can be done there, it can be done anywhere.
OK, thank you all very much. Thank you.